Sulaiman alayhi salam, he's inspecting his army. Allah gave him a lot of power. The jinn were frightened of him. Mankind frightened. All the creatures, but they loved him at the same time because he was a just man. He did not oppress anyone. وَتَفَقَّدَ الطَّيْرَ فَقَالَ مَا لِيَ لَا أَرَى الْهُدْهُدَ أَمْ كَانَ مِنَ الْغَائِبِينَ. As he inspected his army, he noticed that the Hoopoe Bird was missing. One bird, one little bird was missing. Imagine what type of an eye he must have had, Sulaiman alayhi salam, that he's noticing from a huge army, one little bird missing. Subhanallah. And he says, what is happening here? I don't see the Hoopoe Bird. Is he absent? What is it? Questioning. Now look at his statement. Sulaiman alayhi salam was a man of few words, but powerful words. Few words, but very powerful. He says, لَأُعَذِّبَنَّهُ عَذَابًا شَدِيدًا أَوْ لَأَذْبَحَنَّهُ أَوْ لَيَأْتِيَنِّي بِسُلْطَانٍ مُبِينٍ. This Hoopoe Bird shall be punished severely, or we might even execute it unless it comes with a clear, acceptable excuse. Why is it absent? We need to know. Look at what he is saying. He didn't just get upset and said, right, we're executing it. No, he says, we will execute it or we will punish it. But if it has come with an acceptable excuse, we will accept the excuse. So the Hoopoe Bird appears and he asks, what happened? فَمَكَثَ غَيْرَ بَعِيدٍ فَقَالَ أَحَطْتُ بِمَا لَمْ تُحِطْ بِهِ وَجِئْتُكَ مِنْ سَبَإٍ بِنَبَإٍ يَقِينٍ. The Hoopoe Bird, at a bit of a distance, speaks to Sulaiman alayhi salam and says, I have come to you with knowledge that you do not have. Now look at the power of the word. For Sulaiman alayhi salam, he had so much knowledge. He was powerful. He had armies that could check upon his enemy before they even knew that he existed. Allahu Akbar. What that means is, he would send the jinn kind or the other creatures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to go and have a peep at what was happening and come back with information before those people even knew that this man had an army and so on. So when someone is now telling him, a little bird is saying, I know something you don't know. He was really inquisitive. He wanted to know, what is it you know that I don't know? Talk to me, let's see. He says, I have come to you from Saba. I'm coming from Yemen, Sheba, known in Arabic as Saba. And I have brought you some solid information, very authentic, reliable news. What is the news? He says, إِنِّي وَجَدْتُ امْرَأَةً تَمْلِكُهُمْ وَأُوتِيَتْ مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ وَلَهَا عَرْشٌ عَظِيمٌ. I have seen a woman who has a kingdom there. She rules over her people. She's been granted a lot by Allah. She's got lots of wealth and authority. Yes, Sulaiman has wealth and authority of another level, but he is now making mention of a woman who has authority and wealth. And on top of that, she has a very, very great throne. Her throne is so beautiful, meaning her palace where she would sit on her throne is something amazing. Then he says something else. وَجَدْتُهَا وَقَوْمَهَا يَسْجُدُونَ لِلشَّمْسِ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ وَزَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَعْمَالَهُمْ فَصَدَّهُمْ عَنِ السَّبِيلِ فَهُمْ لَا يَهْتَدُونَ. He says, but I saw them worshipping the sun besides Allah. They were worshipping the sun out there. When it comes out in the morning, they worshipped it. Until it set, they continued worshipping the sun in different ways and different forms. Some narrations make mention of how there were different windows in the palace, 365 windows, or windows enough for a day of every year and so on. All these are narrations that have come to us again from those Israeli riwayat. Whether they are true or not, only Allah knows. The crux is, she worshipped the sun. And she did not worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what this Hoopoe Bird is saying, again blaming shaitan. Shaitan is the one who beautified for them this, so they are not guided. Which means shaitan can take away our guidance. When we are sitting, we need to ask ourselves, even as Muslimin, shaitan comes to us to take our iman away. He comes to us to take our aqidah and our belief away. He comes to us to take our salah away. So we go out and engage in backbiting, and we've given as a gift the salah to the person whom we have backbitten about. So we lost the salah. So we need to be careful of shaitan, and we need to constantly thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for what He's bestowed upon us. Like I always say, the rust we've developed within our spirituality needs to be shining. It needs to be shined. It needs to be removed. And we need to have pure shining spirituality. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us goodness, and may He grant us guidance at all times, protection from shaitan. So after that He says, they do not worship Allah. They have refused. Shaitan has misguided them from prostrating for the sake of Allah, who is not only the owner of the skies and the earth and whatever is in, but the one who removes whatever goodness is in the skies and the earth, and He makes it apparent to us, who takes the light out of the skies and the earth for us, and He grants us so much goodness, the owner of absolutely everything. Look at what shaitan has done. He has made them deny Allah and worship the sun. And at this juncture, when we read the Arabic verse, we all fall prostrate for the sake of to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because when we hear how the Queen of Sheba and her people did not prostrate for Allah because shaitan led them astray, we are automatically saying, Ya Allah, we will fall prostrate to you, Ya Allah. So this is why we have something known as sajdat tilawah. I've explained it in the past, and here I've just repeated it in brief. Now, Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam, he wanted to call her to Allah. But he realized that the description of this woman, she has kingdom, she has lots of wealth, she has power, she has people, she has her army, she has authority, she has so much. So Allah has blessed me with much more. Let me use what Allah has given me to show her that if you worship Allah, you will even have more than what you have right now. So he did not give her da'wah directly, besides in the first letter. And in that first letter, he wrote a letter in a very beautiful manner, because he did not know who was on the other side precisely. He only had the information. Now, very importantly, when the bird came in, look at how a bird is so small. So small. And the army is huge. In our armies, if there was a bird, people wouldn't even notice if it went. Here, people are slaying human beings left, right and center across the globe, and they are not even bothered. There, look at Sulaiman's respect for one bird. Small little component of his army. And he says, okay, I've heard what you said. I need to make sure that what you've said is true. I need to find out whether you're just fooling me or whether you're telling the truth. So what did he say? He says, Subhanallah, Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam is now speaking to the bird. He says, I will see whether what you have come with in terms of information is true or false. Take this letter that I am writing, and go and give this letter to her and see what happens. What was in the letter? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes mention of it in Surah An-Naml. The surah is named after the one little ant, because I know we have not paused so long when it comes to the story of the ant, but I have made mention of how important it is for us to cooperate with one another, to defend one another. This is the only way we will be protected. Whenever there is harm coming from one direction, we need to realize that we are part of one major family. As I said moments ago, we are part of one big family. We need to have a genuine feeling for one another. Feeling in humanity, feeling in religion. So if you don't share the religion with a person, at least you are a member who shares humanity with them. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make our hearts humanitarian, and to make us from those who are keen on teaching people goodness. When you see a person astray, instead of thinking of how to plot against them, think of how they could see the light and come to the right path. This is the lesson we learn from the ants. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says here, قال سننظر أصدقت أم كنت من الكاذبين. Sulaiman alayhi salam says, we will see whether you are telling the truth or you are a liar. اذهب بكتابي هذا فألقه إليهم ثم تول عنهم فانظر ماذا يرجعون. Go with this letter of mine to this queen and place it there, and move back slightly and see what they do as a result of that particular letter. What happened?
قالت يا أيها الملأ إني ألقي إلي كتاب كريم.
The letter got there, and this woman sees the letter. She called all her people, she called all her chiefs. She says, "Oh my people, I have received a letter, an honored letter. It has 2 lines in it.
إنه من سليمان وإنه بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألا تعلوا علي وأتوني مسلمين."
That is Sulaiman. He says, this is from Sulaiman, in the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Do not be haughty over us and come to us surrendering. That is it. We want you to surrender to us. And he started in the name of Allah, meaning in the name of my maker. Now, there is a little technicality there. Some might ask, why didn't he say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim? This is from Sulaiman. Why did he say this is from Sulaiman? Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. It is reported, and this is obviously the ijtihad of some of the scholars, they say that had he written Allah's name first, if she had got angry and upset, she might have cursed Allah. So he wrote his name first. Had she got angry and upset, she would rather curse Sulaiman than to curse Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is also wisdom when you are writing. He wrote his name, Innahu min Sulaiman, and this is Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, and he says, very short statement, Allah ta'alu alayya wa atuni muslimin. Do not be haughty over us and come surrendering to us. Now she's asking her people, what should we do? Why? She is worried. She has kingdom, she has power, she has authority, she has wealth, she has everything. But for someone to warn her and to threaten her and to tell her something, there must be some power she did not know existed. She didn't know anything. So what happened? She looks at all her people.
قالت يا أيها الملأ أفتوني في أمري.
She decides to consult. She says, oh my people, give me some decision regarding this matter.
ما كنت قاطعة أمرا حتى تشهدون.
I don't want to make a final decision without you people being involved and without your witness and so on. So tell me. So they looked at her. They said,
قالوا نحن أولو قوة وأولو بأس شديد والأمر إليك فانظري ماذا تأمرين.
They looked at her and they said, look, we are people with lots of power. We have a strong army. So now you decide what you want us to do. Which means if you want us to fight, we will go. We have a powerful army. But she was very clever. She did not know the size of the army of Sulaiman. Because she now knows that if we are going to fight an army and they are stronger than us, look what she says.
قالت إن الملوك إذا دخلوا قرية أفسدوها وجعلوا أعزة أهلها أذلة وكذلك يفعلون.
She stopped and she says, you know, when the kings and the big and the haughty walk into a city with an army, they turn it upside down, and those who were the leaders are the most disgraced from amongst them thereafter. I want to avoid that scenario. Today on the globe, take a look at what happens. When huge armies walk in, those who are the leaders are the ones who are actually the most disgraced. So this woman understood it many, many years back, that do not confront this army, let us try and make peace with the army. Let us see who these people are. So she says,
وَإِنِّي مُرْسِلَةٌ إِلَيْهِمْ بِهَدِيَّةٍ فَنَاظِرَةٌ بِمَا يَرْجِعُ الْمُرْسَلُونَ.
I am going to send him a gift. A very, very valuable gift. I will send him with a few messengers from amongst you, and you can go, and when you go there, you should just have a peep. You know, so they are spies actually. You have a peep and see the size of his army and bring back information for us, see how he reacted and what happens. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, these two people, obviously they were messengers, they left with the gift. We will get to what Sulaiman alayhi salam says, as these people left with a gift. News got to Sulaiman. From who? From the Hoopoe Bird and from all his other members of the army, that these people are sending you a gift and this is what is happening. So he says, right, let's display the army, the entire army. So in the army now, there were lions, there were tigers, animals, birds, jinn kind, mankind, the wind, everything there, all. And these people are walking towards where Sulaiman alayhi salam is. And they're looking, and on top of that, his kingdom was displayed for them. So the gift they had, they saw lots of things similar to that and even better strewn around. So to them this is valueless. Yet for them that side there, it held a lot of value. They shook their heads, no ways. We want to face all these with our little army that we have there. They went to Sulaiman alayhi salam. It is reported they were actually feeling guilty to give this little gift, because of how minute it became suddenly when they saw this throne of Sulaiman and they saw his army. They looked around him, they were shocked, they were amazed. Subhanallah. And as they tried to put forward this gift, Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam responds.
فَلَمَّا جَاءَ سُلَيْمَانَ قَالَ أَتُمِدُّونَنِ بِمَالٍ. When they got to Sulaiman, he said, what? You want to bribe me with some wealth here? You want to give me some wealth? You want to give me money? You want to give me some merchandise? Something you think is valuable? فَمَا آتَانِيَ اللَّهُ خَيْرٌ مِّمَّا آتَاكُمْ. What Allah has given me is far better than anything you have. بَلْ أَنْتُمْ بِهَدِيَّتِكُمْ تَفْرَحُونَ. Indeed, you people are excited. You're getting happy regarding your gift. You don't know, I know the whole plan, I know the whole plot, I know absolutely everything. And you see our army, we have absolutely everything been given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Irji' ilayhim. Go back to them. Go back. فَلَنَأْتِيَنَّهُمْ بِجُنُودٍ لَا قِبَلَ لَهُمْ بِهَا.
We are going to come to them with an army that they will never ever be able to overcome. Impossible.
وَلَنُخْرِجَنَّهُمْ مِنْهَا أَذِلَّةً وَهُمْ صَاغِرُونَ.
And we will remove them from Sheba. We will remove them from it in a disgraced manner whilst they will be belittled. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. So what happened? These people started going back. They got back to try and convince this woman to say, there is a problem. What is the problem? This man has such a big army, there is no ways we will be able to overcome his army. Impossible. They began to describe it to her in such a way that they made her frightened. And she was convinced that something needs to happen. They told her, you need to go yourself to him and try and make peace. So we do not want to surrender to him, but we don't want to fight him either. And he left us with only one option. You either fight or you come. Surrendering. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made mention of what happened thereafter. Sulaiman alayhi salam had a meeting with all his army, with the main chiefs.
قال يا أيها الملأ أيكم يأتيني بعرشها قبل أن يأتوني مسلمين.
As they were planning to leave, and they were planning now to come towards Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam, Sulaiman tells his people, oh my people, which one of you can bring her whole throne, seeing that that was the biggest possession of hers. We said moments ago, one of the main possessions she had, beautiful throne of hers, with that little palace that she had, where she used to sit on the throne. Sulaiman says, which one of you can bring that throne to me here before they arrive here in submission? They are coming. Before they come here, bring the whole throne. Lift it up and bring it here. Amazing.
قال عفريت من الجن أنا آتيك به قبل أن تقوم من مقامك وإني عليه لقوي أمين.
Ifrit, who was one of the most powerful jinn, he says, I will bring it to you before you get up from where you are seated. Sulaiman used to sit from the morning to the afternoon. So which means in one morning I'll have it right in front of you, everything. And you know what? I am so trustworthy that all the different diamonds and the different jewelry and all the beautification and adornment, I will bring it in such a way that it will remain intact. Just lift it all off, fly it down here and drop it down. Meaning bring it exactly where you want it. Sulaiman alayhi salam, as he's still pondering, another one speaks.
قال الذي عنده علم من الكتاب أنا آتيك به قبل أن يرتد إليك طرفك.
The one who had knowledge of the book, the one who had knowledge of the book of revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, We are not so sure exactly who that was, but it is someone who had knowledge granted from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What does he say? He says, Ya Sulaiman, I will bring exactly what this one wanted to bring before you get up, but I will bring it to you before your eye returns as it blinks next. And as he blinked, Allahu Akbar, it was in front of him. Now she had left the place, and her entire palace, if you'd like to say, was lifted as it was and brought there in front of Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam. فَلَمَّا رَآهُ مُسْتَقِرًّا عِنْدَهُ. When he saw it in front of him, what did he say? What would we say? Look at what Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam says. قَالَ هَذَا مِنْ فَضْلِ رَبِّي لِيَبْلُوَنِي أَأَشْكُرُ أَمْ أَكْفُرُ. This is from the virtue of my Rabb. He has granted me this amount of power, that we've brought something semi-impossible right in front, within the blink of an eye. Allah is testing me to see whether I am from amongst those who show gratitude and gratefulness, or I am from amongst those who are ungrateful. And he continues to say, وَمَنْ شَكَرَ فَإِنَّمَا يَشْكُرُ لِنَفْسِهِ. Whoever is thankful, it will benefit him. وَمَنْ كَفَرَ فَإِنَّ رَبِّي غَنِيٌّ كَرِيمٌ. And whoever is ungrateful, they are not going to harm Allah. Allah is independent and full of honor, which means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't need us to be grateful. We need to be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we are grateful, it will benefit us, not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This evening we heard in the dua that was rendered by the Sheikh, what did we hear? He says, Subhana man takarram. We praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is so full of honor that He did not forget any one of us. He's given us all. Imagine the gratitude that we owe Allah. He's given every one of us whatever He's granted us. Has Allah forgotten anyone here? Subhanallah. Amazing. So this is the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now Sulaiman alayhi salam wanted to do something else. قال نكروا لها عرشها ننظر أتهتدي أم تكون من الذين لا يهتدون. Sulaiman says, change slightly, modify and renovate her palace, so that, meaning her throne and its surroundings, so that we want to see whether she notices that it is hers or she doesn't even know. So her throne came in and it was modified, which means it was renovated. So it was made more posh. One narration, again a Jewish narration, makes mention that whatever she had in mind, that I'm going to fix this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that, Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam already had everything done and it was sitting there waiting. She had left, and as she comes in, the question is asked to her. But before I make mention of how she walked in and how she came in, Sulaiman alayhi salam instructed the building of another palace within moments. What was that palace? His own throne, where he was going to receive her. And he says, build it for me on the water, in such a way that its floor, when I receive her, will be made of strong glass, but very, very thin. And she will be able to see the fish, and she will be able to see the various sea life underneath her feet. And it was made for him, blink of an eye. Everything was made, put there. Remember, he had the armies to do this for him. And as it was put there, now she comes. فَلَمَّا جَاءَتْ. As she walked in, she was asked a question. She walked in now, she's looking at something looking very much like her own throne. قِيلَ أَهَكَذَا عَرْشُكَ. Is this what your throne looks like? Now she's looking. Now listen to what went through her mind. She says, my throne is there. We took so long to get here. It can't be mine. If it is mine, how did it get here? And if it is not mine, how is it copied so exactly? So she's confused. One of two things. It's either mine or not mine. If it is mine, how did it get here? And if it's not mine, how is it copied exactly? قالت. Now already she is being tackled. Her brain, remember, she used to worship the sun. And she knows Sulaiman, he is a Muslim. He worships Allah. From the moment he wrote Bismillah, in the name of Allah, the maker, the creator, she knew exactly this one is on a different religion. Now her belief is being questioned. Because there's someone much more powerful than her. Her men already told her and now she's shocked again. And the greatness of her kingdom is being questioned. Because she sees someone with greater kingdom. So she says, كَأَنَّهُ It seems like this is mine. It seems like it. So she noticed that there are certain differences. But then again, she was uncertain how to respond. And Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam says, وَأُوتِينَا الْعِلْمَ مِنْ قَبْلِهَا وَكُنَّا مُسْلِمِينَ We were granted the knowledge of Islam before her and we surrendered to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he is now expressing that all this is because we have surrendered to the creator of the universe. Whoever created it, we have surrendered to him. He's granted us some power. Subhanallah. قِيلَ لَهَا ادْخُلِ الصَّرْحِ It was told to her to enter the other palace, the place where Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam was. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَلَمَّا رَأَتْهُ حَسِبَتْهُ لُجَّةً وَكَشَفَتْ عَنْ سَاقَيْهَا When she saw it, with that glass and with the water underneath it, she thought it to be water. So she lifted slightly her garment until part of her leg showed. Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam says, إِنَّهُ صَرْحٌ مُمَرَّدٌ مِّن قَوَارِيرٍ No need to do that. It is just a floor that is made of very fine, thick, strong glass. Subhanallah. Look at this. No need. Now she's again baffled, completely baffled. And she's thinking to herself, how big my kingdom is. And how huge this kingdom of Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam is. Subhanallah. All her kingdom and all her knowledge, everything that she had, in comparison to what Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam had, was totally eclipsed. It was nothing. Not even a fragment. So now she starts pondering. My people are there. I have Sulaiman. I've been worshipping the sun. It hasn't helped me a lot. And it is now time to see what this man does. Humble, down to earth Sulaiman, praying, thanking Allah. His character is exemplary. He's not haughty. He is very just amongst all his army. He is such a powerful person, such a good man. And this is when she's seen everything. And she decided, this is the moment I need to surrender. How did she surrender? She says, amazingly, as her heart, remember she was worshipping the sun. The light of that sun was being eclipsed in her heart. Slowly, she'd seen this sign, that sign, the other sign. Yet he is such a pious man. He's a worshipper of Allah. He engages in prayer. So many actions from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, showing his gratitude to Allah. And a new light began to beam from her heart. That light which nothing can eclipse. رَبِّ إِنِّي ظَلَمْتُ نَفْسِي وَأَسْلَمْتُ مَعَ سُلَيْمَانَ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ O my Maker, O my Creator, I have oppressed myself, I have done wrong all along. I surrendered to you together with this Sulaiman for the one who has created the entire creation, Rabbul Alameen. She surrendered. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Just by looking, she surrendered. When she surrendered, her entire army surrendered. Everybody, all her people surrendered. They were all Muslimin under Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam. And this is the gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon those who believe. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us a turning point. Here you have a woman who has seen the qudra of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the power of Allah. She has seen the signs of Allah. And that moved her to turn to surrender to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wallahi, we see the miracles of Allah every day and every night. We see the grandeur, the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala around us. But still we find ourselves dilly-dallying on the wrong path. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us a lesson from this woman. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us surrender to Him.